And hello, and welcome to another Ready Communities Weekly update. And this one's a little bit different because we are absolutely on opposite sides of the earth as we continue to focus on localized place-based work, doing Ready Grafton, and also continue to support Ready Play, where we were last year. My name's Dr. Chad Renando, and
I'm Kerry Grace, and again, before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians and elders past and present.
and Carrie. So, speaking of traditional elders, traditional custodians, I'm here on different land over here in the United States. I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana, for the Global Entrepreneurship Congress. And this has been a bit of a provocation this year in that I'm actually here making a case to expand the notion of what they call entrepreneur ecosystems. And actually, we're talking about overall place-based work, place-based design, building on the work that we're doing with Ready Communities and the Readiness Index. And I'll tell you right now, the feedback has been incredible, and it's quite often when you hear someone talk about a thing that you've been wrestling with and thinking about, and they finally articulate it, that's the kind of response I've been getting from people where they say, that's what I've been thinking the whole time. And it really, the validation we're getting is that we're on the right track. We also had some people over here from Kempsey, and that's really been notable, particularly because, as we said in our last week's update, Kempsey has recently been inundated with the floods. And so it's a really tenuous time, a lot of questions on whether they should go or not. But it's been really good because we made some deep connections with people that can support from around the world that have gone through disaster responses related to innovation, entrepreneurship, and just overall regions on how they recover. And so it's been good to work with the team here to make those connections so they can bring that knowledge back to Kempsey. I share more about my experience here, but it's been incredible. But you have been on the ground in Grafton, and from what I read on the emails back and forth every morning between us, having some amazing outcomes.
Yeah, Chad, I have, and I've actually been in Kempsey as well, so it was interesting to be there. And that I love after natural disaster is the camaraderie when people are coming together. So I saw a whole bunch of people helping to clean up and some public art made by local students, thanking the SES as well, which was pretty incredible. And it was also really good to see quite a few of the shops up and trading again and a bit of life coming into the CBD in Kempsey too. Um, I think it's interesting, really interesting challenges that the community leaders have. And I'd really encourage anyone that's on the ground to be gentle about how different leaders respond. I know that some are down there in Kempsey, very much in the public eye and talking about what they're talking about, but I think it's just as important to gather information that's um, comes from other communities and can build on the skills and the resilience. Did I just use that word? I did. The skills and the tenacity as well of those leaders, because it's really hard to lead in those communities. And when natural disaster happens, it's even harder. I heard some things that I thought were pretty awful about that were quite judgmental of other people in that community. And I just think that and tall poppy syndrome are things that really need to be addressed. And I guess as we work with the leaders that we call impact facilitators, we help to give them some tools around that because I remember being a regional leader and having things thrown at me and how hurtful it can be because it doesn't contain itself to the workplace. It continues in the supermarket aisles and on social media and all the rest of it. So, nevertheless, in Grafton, where I am now, I've been learning local stories here this week, and I just learned things like there's an actual mummy's head in one of the school libraries here. I was talking to one of the councillors, Councillor Novak, just yesterday, and she, as a journalist, collected many incredible stories about this community. So it's really, really fascinating to be learning. Um, all of the stories that you wouldn't normally hear if you were just passing through. And significant artists and academics and writers and photographers and horse breeders that have come from this community. So I'm loving learning about that. And also because this coming to this community and moving to this community has very much been about learning about my community development practice and actually living it And I tell people that the way that I always start community development is walking around the streets. So I've been doing that quite a lot and meeting the people that I stumble across on the way. And I just found the old Grafton jail on my walk as well. So now I'm finding out how we can use that as part of the conference too. It's very gothic, very exciting building.
Oh, very cool, very cool. I like you. Yeah, I mean your capacity and capability to hunt out very unique and interesting places to take conference delegates is unmatched, unparalleled, I would say. I'm very much looking forward to obviously I'll be back next week and the week after that on the ground and walking around, but leading up to the Social Impact in the Regions conference, which is the first week of September for people that want to attend. We are going to be, it's going to be informed by obviously all the work we do, and also just from the insights that we've gained over here in the US, and building that up as well. There might be a few people from the US just hanging around the conference as well. We don't build it as this big international draw card as local people on the ground, but we do also try and get people that you can learn from that are in communities outside of yours, so that you can share some of that knowledge and just get different perspectives that you may not have thought of before. So if you are around the first week of September, I would encourage you to go to readycommunities.com.au, check out the Social Impact in the Regions Conference. It will be just an amazing experience, as Kerry just said, just visiting all the different locations. Interestingly, one of the reasons why we have the conference is and the Ready Communities process is so that we bring people together before there is a natural disaster or an event, or because quite often people come together during those times. And Kerry, you mentioned the gratitude, but the first time they have come together may be around that event. And so we try and build that up. And just a real quick story, I just got out of a meeting with someone who is a leader in his community, and he was actually away from his community when a flood hit. And he recalled just the pride he felt when he saw his community mobilize what was his startup community around the flood, because he had done that work beforehand. He had made the connections, they had the clarity, they had the capability, capacity, they were already collaborating, and they already had a voice for what mattered in the region, that readiness framework that we were talking about. And so when the flood hit, and I would propose, and interesting to hear thoughts from being on the ground this week, if we've seen some of that already. I know just anecdotally, I'm hearing some things around some of those work that we did last year. It's actually starting to manifest during the flood this year, as people are coming together in what really is a challenging time.
Yeah, I think, well, if I think about a conversation I had yesterday with Ash from Why Leave Town and how we were talking about, among other things, a emerging partnership that I obviously can't talk about too much today, but it's very logical and exciting partnership. The local business community, I think, can be underrated in those times, and or particularly in times when it's not a crisis. So we learned in Kempsey how important it was for the social sector to be working with the business sector for numerous reasons. One, because there were so many empty shops in Kempsey, and that genuinely impacts the mental health of the community. So we could see that strengthening those relationships through the readiness work that we were doing did make a difference. We can see that. Um, so then with the Why Leave Town, so obviously Kempsey embraced the Why Leave Town program. They now have a program called Kempsey Cash, which is great. And it's looking like that may be able to be a program that can be used in natural disaster as well to support the local community and make sure the money flows into the community and into the pockets of the people that need it. Why Leave Town is just such an excellent program. Can't speak highly enough of it.
All right, look, and that really does, I think, highlight the distinction between those two R words, right? So you can let the resilience one slip, which we get, like, and it's important to be able to respond to disasters and challenge, but it's that readiness that we really focus on, that preempting, that you don't know when and where it's going to come, but when it does come, that you are ready. And that Wiley Town intervention, which again, it was just seemed a bit of a practice, Christmas time, raise some funds, it had a good outcome, but then to be able to mobilize that infrastructure, that social infrastructure that was built during that time, it's really humbling and heartwarming to hear about that. And yeah, look forward to further insights from the work that we've done over here to be on the ground there and to share that with anybody that wants to come along in September. Definitely keep up with us on readycommunities.com.au, sign up for our newsletter, keep track of us as we do these regular weekly updates. And look, we're learning as we go. We don't always know what we don't know. So if you guys have additional insights for disaster response, for additional commentary on things that we're doing, it does take a broad community to do this kind of work, and we'd love to learn from you as we continue to grow and share. Kerry, anything else to share, and anything exciting coming up for next week?
No, I think I might keep the rest under my hat. Got to keep
Sounds
some
good.
surprises.
That's right. Always keep us on our toes. All right. Well, thank you very much. We'll wrap up here and yeah, chat with you guys again next week.